I know some of y'all were very happy that she's not doing Unrivaled, as to stick it to the people who treated her poorly.
There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie.
What happens when the biggest name in women's basketball gets rejected by the sport's new superstar? Geno Auriemma just found out, and it's costing him millions. Caitlin Clark, the rookie who's taking the WNBA by storm, just turned down a massive offer from Auriemma's new league. Now, the same coach who once called her fans delusional is scrambling. Want to know why this rejection is such a big deal? Keep watching. Remember when Geno Auriemma said Caitlin Clark couldn't handle the WNBA? Man, that aged like milk left out in the sun. Let's rewind the clock a bit. Back to before Clark's rookie season. Geno was all over TV, running his mouth about how she'd struggle in the big leagues. Can you believe he even called her fans delusional for thinking she'd dominate? That's some next-level shade right there. But hold up, because things are about to get wild. Fast forward to now, and Geno's singing a whole different tune. It's like he got a personality transplant or something. Suddenly, he's praising Clark left and right, calling her a phenomenon and a game changer. The same guy who was throwing shade is now throwing roses. Talk about a 180, right? So what gives? What made Geno flip so hard? Did he have a change of heart? Did Clark's play just blow him away? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Turns out Geno's got some skin in the game. And I'm not talking about coaching rivalries or ego. I'm talking cold, hard cash. You see, Geno actually invested in a new basketball league. And guess who that league wanted badly? Yep, you guessed it. Caitlin Clark. Suddenly, all those compliments start to make a whole lot more sense, don't they? This 180 wasn't just about basketball. There was big money on the line. It's crazy to think about, right?
College career that Caitlin had that ignited a tremendous amount of attention, an incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it's certainly first part about new fans. They have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
The same coach who was dissing Clark is now practically begging for her attention. But that's what happens when millions of dollars are at stake. Geno's not just eating his words, he's choking on them. And Clark? She's out there living her best life, proving all the doubters wrong, including the ones who suddenly want to be her biggest cheerleaders. You think Geno's flip-flop was wild? Wait till you hear what Clark did on the court. While he was changing his tune, she was writing a whole new song. Her rookie season wasn't just good, it was historic. And by the end of it, even the harshest critics couldn't deny one simple fact. Caitlin Clark wasn't just ready for the WNBA, she was redefining it. Let's talk about her first game. Clark dropped 19 points like it was nothing, but that was just the appetizer. Game after game, she kept serving up performances that had everyone's jaws on the floor. We're talking 30-point games like they were going out of style. Clark wasn't just scoring, she was dishing out assists like she'd been in the league for years. Remember all those doubters who said she couldn't handle the physicality? Yeah, about that. Clark shut them up real quick. She wasn't just hanging with the veterans, she was making them look like rookies. The girl was breaking records left and right. 62 of them to be exact. That's not a typo. 62 records! In one season. You know what's even crazier? Clark wasn't just setting rookie records, she was shattering league records for assists and points. It's like she looked at the record books and said, nah, let's rewrite all of this. And the thing is, she made it look easy.
The rest of the team starts to feel like that as well. So they're dangerous not because of what Caitlin does, but what somebody like her.
Make the most of Caitlin Clark not playing by hinting everything and basically making people think that Caitlin Clark was going to play.
By the time the dust settled on her rookie season, Clark had done the unthinkable. She finished 4th in MVP voting. As a rookie, that's not supposed to happen, but Clark isn't about what's supposed to happen. She's about making the impossible look routine. And Geno's words about her struggling? They were looking pretty silly now. Clark didn't just prove she could handle the WNBA, she proved she could dominate it. Rookie of the Year, check. First team all WNBA, double check. She didn't just live up to the hype, she blew right past it. So while Geno was busy eating his words, Clark was feasting on the court. She didn't just silence the critics, she gave them a whole new vocabulary to describe her greatness. And this is just her rookie season. Imagine what's coming next. The WNBA better buckle up, because Caitlin Clark is just getting started. Just when you thought Caitlin Clark couldn't get any hotter, a new league came knocking with an offer that would make most players' heads spin. Picture this, $1 million for just 8 weeks of work. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, for Clark it was. Enter Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 basketball league that's got some serious backing. We're talking big names and even bigger money. And they had their sights set on one player, Caitlin Clark. Can you blame them? After the rookie season she just had, everyone wanted a piece of her. But Unrivaled wasn't messing around. They came at Clark with a contract that would make your jaw drop. We're talking over $1 million for an 8-week season. That's not just good money, that's life-changing. Never have to worry again kind of cash. In women's basketball, that kind of offer is practically unheard of. Everyone thought it was a done deal. I mean, who turns down that kind of money, right? Unrivaled was so confident, they started dropping hints all over social media. They were teasing Clark's involvement like it was already locked in. They even started making cryptic posts about her jersey number, 22. The hype was real, but then nothing. Silence.
Like, she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid. It's funny to listen to the fever management moan about physical fouls whenever and anytime I moan about.
The big Caitlin Clark announcement never came. Fans were refreshing their feeds like crazy, waiting for news that never arrived. When Unrivaled finally unveiled their roster, guess who was missing? Yep, no Caitlin Clark. You know what's wild? Clark actually turned down that $1 million offer. Can you imagine saying no to that kind of money? But here's the thing. Clark wasn't just thinking about the cash. She was thinking about her game, her body, her future. After a non-stop run from her senior year at Iowa through her rookie WNBA season, Clark decided she needed rest more than she needed another payday. So while everyone else was chasing the next big thing, Clark was playing the long game. She chose recovery over a quick buck. And let me tell you, that decision left Unrivaled and its investors, including our friend Geno, scrambling. They had built up all this hype, practically promised fans they'd see Clark in action, and then nothing. Talk about an awkward situation. Clark's rejection didn't just hit Unrivaled hard. For Geno Auriemma, it was like getting dunked on twice. Remember, he's not just some coach running his mouth. He's got money in this game. Geno invested in Unrivaled, thinking it was going to be the next big thing in women's basketball. But without Clark, man, that dream's looking shaky.
But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position. See how Unrivaled does without Caitlin Clark. They could still succeed, but we know what it would have meant if they had secured her on one of those rosters.
You know how Unrivaled was hyping up Clark like crazy? They were dropping hints about her jersey number and everything. Now they look kinda silly. It's like throwing a party and the guest of honor doesn't show up. Awkward, right? Without Clark, Unrivaled lost its biggest star power. And let me tell you, fans noticed. People started asking questions. Can this league even make it without Clark? Is it worth watching? Suddenly, Geno's investment wasn't looking so hot. It's like he bet on a racehorse, but the horse decided to take a nap instead of running. Not a good look for his wallet. And all that praise Geno was throwing Clark's way. It's starting to look less like he's impressed and more like he's begging. You can almost hear the desperation in his voice. Please, Caitlin, pretty please come play in our league. But Clark's not biting. She's too busy dominating the WNBA and proving all those doubters wrong. You know what's crazy? Those fans Geno called delusional for believing in Clark? Turns out they were right all along.
Incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it certainly changed the landscape, no question. The way they transcend their team even, you know, it's like there isn't anything they think they can't do.
Clark's not just good, she's changing the whole game. She's showing that players have more power than ever. They can say no to big money if it's not right for them. They can choose rest over cash. That's a whole new level of star power. So here's Geno, watching his investment wobble while Clark's over there rewriting the rules of women's basketball stardom. Talk about eating your words. He's not just eating them, he's choking on them. And Clark? She's just getting started. The basketball world better watch out because she's not playing by anyone's rules but her own. Caitlin Clark didn't just shake up women's basketball, she flipped the whole script. This rookie phenom proved everyone wrong, including the legendary Geno Auriemma. But here's the kicker. Clark's impact goes way beyond the court. She's showing players they've got more power than ever to call their own shots. Think about it. Clark turned down $1 million to rest up. That's unheard of. She's not just playing the game, she's changing how the whole business works. And you know what? The league's gotta adapt or get left behind. So what's next for Clark? More records are gonna fall, that's for sure. But the real question is, how's women's basketball gonna look in a few years? With players like Clark leading the charge, we might be watching a whole new ballgame. One thing's certain, it's gonna be wild.